Hello, friends. Welcome to today's story. Have you ever thought that one wrong knock at the door could change a family's life forever? A powerful CEO, a little girl who hasn't smiled since her mother passed, and a stranger who walked in by mistake. What starts as a simple misunderstanding soon unravels a secret that could either heal or break them apart. Stay with me until the end, because the twist in this journey is something you won't see coming. The phone lit up just as Ethan Carter flipped to the last slide of his investor deck. Roosevelt Elementary flashed across the screen, and everything inside him went quiet. "Take 5, he said to the room, already on his feet. 2 minutes later, his chair was empty, the boardroom a blur in his wake. He cut through the glass lobby, coat hafts on, keys in hand. The winter air slapped his face as the doors slid open. The nurse's office smelled like antiseptic and crayons. Emma sat on the cot, knees to her chest, a threadbare bear tucked under her chin. The counselor's voice lowered. A panic spell at recess. Kids asked about her mom. Ethan crouched, palms open like he was approaching a deer. "I'm here." "Em," he whispered. "You don't have to say anything. Just breathe with me." Her shoulders jerked once, then softened under his voice. They counted together, slow and steady, eyes locked like a lifeline. When she finally exhaled, he did, too. That night, the Carter house looked perfect and unlived in. Floors gleamed. The piano shone. The art was straight. Nothing felt warm. Ethan stood by Emma's doorway, listening to the hush. She sat on the edge of the bed, socked feet dangling above the rug, the bear's matted ear pressed against her lip. She stared through him like the world was too bright to touch. Mrs. Reynolds, his long-time house manager, stopped beside him with a folded blanket. "She needs safety you can feel," she said softly. "Not just words, maybe music." Ethan nodded without looking away. "Find someone gentle," he said. "Someone who understands scared." His voice touched the doorway and dissolved. By morning, an appointment was booked with Claire Donovan, a teacher reputed to coax melody out of silence. 5 o'clock sharp. It sounded like a plan, and plans helped him breathe. At 4:32, an email landed. Emergency at the hospital. Lesson canceled. Mrs. Reynolds didn't see it. She was already in the carpool lane, scanning for Emma's small blue coat. Plano gray sky pressed low, threatening snow. They got home just before 5. Reynolds, warmed suit, lined up a neat row of pencils on the music stand and cleared the bench like it mattered. The clock ticked, precise and polite. The doorbell rang at the hour. A young woman stood on the porch in a thin charcoal coat, hair windblown, paper bag tucked to her chest. "Delivery for Carter?" she asked, breath misting. "Mrs. Reynolds blinked, took in the neat satchel, the careful posture, the kind, careful eye. Relief threaded her exhale. "You must be Claire. We're grateful you're here." "Actually, the woman started, but Reynolds was already hustling back toward the kitchen. "Piano room is first on the right." Reynolds called. "She's been waiting all day." The foyer swallowed the woman's uncertainty. Her boot soles squeaked on marble, her swallow loud in the cathedral quiet. She hugged the bag tighter and followed the corridor light. The music room was white and soft with winter sun. The baby Grand sat like a sleeping animal on the bench. Emma curled around her bed, shoulders hitching. The woman paused at the threshold, one hand on the frame. She'd come to drop off noodles. She'd stayed for reasons she couldn't explain. Emma lifted red, rimmed eye, taking in the stranger, the coat, the wavering smile. Her voice came out thin. "Do you know Twinkle?" Twinkle, the slow way. The woman's breath hitched at the child's phrasing. "I might remember," she said, and the word might held all her caution. She set the bag down and crossed to the bench. Her name was Maya Brooks, though she didn't offer it yet. Her fingers hovered over the keys, unsure at first, then braver with each small sound. The melody came out tender, imperfect, honest. Emma leaned closer. The bear slipped to her lap like a landing bird. Her breathing matched the rhythm before she knew it had changed. At the foot of the stairs, Ethan finished a call and stepped forward. What he saw stopped him, where the light cut across the hall. A stranger at the piano. His daughter tilted toward her like a plant to a window. He didn't speak. He didn't dare disturb whatever delicate thing had unfolded. He stood in the doorway, heart thudding in the quiet. Maya found the second verse by ear. No words, just vowels of sound. Emma reached one small finger to press a companion note, and the room learned how to breathe again. Something loosened in Ethan's chest he hadn't known was clenched. When the last note faded, Maya looked up, startled by her own daring. Was that too slow? She asked, eyes flicking to Emma, not toward the door. Emma shook her head. It felt like night with stars. She whispered, "Not scary night, just night." Maya smiled, a small thing that didn't ask for much. "That's my favorite kind," she said. "The kind that listens." Ethan stepped back before either of them turned. He held the stair rail like it might vanish. For the first time in months, the house didn't feel empty. It felt quiet. On the porch, cold grabbed Maya's ankles as she pulled the door shut. She exhaled as if she'd been underwater. The glow from the window warmed the snowless evening like a held breath. At the curb, her bike waited with a crooked front light. She looked back once, one heartbeat, two, and whispered, "What am I doing?" No one answered. The silence didn't mind. Her apartment on Piermont Street was a single room with a partition pretending to be a wall. Caleb's dinosaur blanket took up the couch, his crayons the coffee table. The kettle complained toward a boil. Her phone buzzed with a new email, another cleaning job gone. Overdue notices stacked like gray clouds. She pinched the bridge of her nose and stared at the ceiling, till cracks seemed to draw a map. She heard again the little voice. "Slow way." She saw again the small hand pressing a note that didn't ask permission. She felt the ache and the relief as if they were the same temperature. "Tomorrow," she said to the empty room, testing the word. It didn't fall apart. So she said it again, softer. "Tomorrow, at 5 on the dot." Maya climbed those steps a second time. Her hair was pulled back, her hands scrubbed, her nerves arranged like soldiers. She looked like someone who had decided to try. Emma was waiting on the bench, feet swinging, eyes guarded but bright. She didn't say hello. She didn't need to. "Can we learn something new?" she asked. Maya sat, careful as a guest in a museum. "My mother used to hum when storms rolled in," she said. "It wasn't perfect, but it never left." The first notes were thin as thread. Emma listened, then slid half an inch closer on the bench. "I like it," she said. "It sounds like rain when you're inside." From the hallway, Ethan leaned against the wall, coffee cooling in his palm. He watched his daughter's shoulder touch the sleeve of a stranger. He realized the anger he'd expected to feel had forgotten to arrive. They didn't practice scales. They practiced breathing. They didn't count measures. They counted quiets between notes. Emma's foot found the pedal and held it like a secret. On the third visit, Maya walked in with a tin wrapped in a dish towel. "They're a little toasty," she admitted. Cinnamon drifted into the white room like a small miracle. Emma lifted the lid and closed her eyes to sniff. "Not store," she said. "Certain. Store smells like plastic. These smell like Saturday morning." They played without plan. Emma told a dream in pieces. Fog. A voice. A vanishing. Maya didn't fix it. She turned it into sound. "Let's write the ending we want," she said. They found a title that felt like a promise. Safe Sky. Emma drew it in purple marker, 2 figures in mist, hands linked. She taped it to the wall with the seriousness of hanging a flag. Ethan came down for a contract and stopped at the threshold. The drawing caught his breath, the smile in crayon more daring than anything he'd seen in a year. He pressed his lips together hard enough to steady. Snow threatened again that week. At pickup, Maya stood beside him, shoes down, coat too thin. Ethan reached across and popped the passenger lock. "Ride with us," he said. She hesitated, glancing at the leather. He shook his head. gentle. "It's just seats," he said. "People matter more." The drive home hummed with wipers and something like peace. "What's your name?" he asked. Voice even. "Maya," she said. "Maya Brooks." He nodded, watching the road. "Lauren was my wife," he said after a beat. "She was brave in ways that didn't look like it. We lost our son, and then we lost her. Emma hasn't trusted the world since." Maya turned the travel mug in her hands. "My mom had a stroke the year I turned 20, she said. College stopped. Life didn't. Caleb is 6. All sparks and question. Some days I learn how to stand up while I'm already falling." When the car rolled to a stop, the rain slowed as if listening. "Ethan killed the engine. Lauren would have liked the way you listen," he said quietly. She thought listening was a science no one taught. Maya didn't answer. She didn't need to. Emma leaned forward from the back seat. "Can we play the rainy song later?" she asked. "Yes," Ethan said, looking at the woman who wasn't a teacher and the child who was learning to breathe. "Yes, we will." Upstairs, after Emma fell asleep, Ethan stood by the window and watched the street. A lone cyclist pushed uphill against a wind that wasn't there yesterday. A crooked light bobbed like a stubborn star. He didn't know her story yet. He didn't know the cost of showing up on a wrong door with a right heart. He only knew the house felt less like a gallery and more like a room that might forgive. What he didn't see was the email waiting in a distant inbox. The one with Claire Donovan's apology and the words, "lesson canceled." What he didn't know was how one mistake can open a door no one planned to walk through. And what none of them imagined, standing in different rooms, holding different pieces, was how a wrong melody was already threading them toward a night where everything would change. On stage, with the world watching. Snow lingered on the curb the morning Maya returned. Her coat was buttoned wrong, her hands still red from the ride. But she smiled faintly when Emma waved from the porch, Bear tucked under her arm like a secret talisman. "Ready?" Maya asked. Emma nodded. "Only if you play the storm song again." They sat on the bench, shoulders almost touching. Maya's fingers stumbled over the keys, finding the tune her mother used to hum. Emma leaned into the sound, her eyes half closed. The room warmed with notes that didn't need to be perfect. Ethan stopped at the door, files under his arm, watching his daughter's mouth shape into something like peace. He hadn't seen that curve in a year. For the first time, he let himself hope it could stay. By the third visit, Maya carried a tin wrapped in a dish towel. "Don't laugh," she said softly. "They're a little burned." The cinnamon wafted into the bright room like memory. Emma peeked inside, wrinkled her nose in concentration. "They smell like Saturday morning," she whispered. She hugged the tin as if it were treasure. That day, they began something new. "I dreamed about fog," Emma murmured. "Mom called me." Then she was gone. Maya set her hand gently on the keys. "What if we write a song where she doesn't disappear?" Together they tapped out hesitant notes. Clumsy but sincere, Maya scribbled on a receipt. Emma hummed lines under her breath. When they finished, the girl whispered, "Safe sky." She drew a picture, 2 figures holding hands in the mist. Ethan walked in later, meaning to grab a folder. The drawing taped on the wall caught him like a hook in his chest. He closed his eye, just one, then walked away without the folder. That week, rain hammered the windshield as he pulled into the pickup lane. Emma's small figure stood under the awning, backpack crooked. Beside her, Maya soaked through, shoes dripping. "Get it," Ethan said, leaning across to push open the door. "I'll ruin your seat," Maya protested. "They'll dry," he answered, a wry smile flickering. The drive was quiet, but not empty. Emma scribbled in her notebook, tapping her foot. Ethan spoke low. "Lauren was my wife. She worked through everything, stronger than I knew. She didn't make it after our second was born." His voice cracked, and silence filled the car. Maya pressed her palms to the paper cup he'd handed her. "My mom's stroke ended college for me. I stayed home, cared for her, raised Caleb alone. He's 6. Brilliance and restless. I'm tired every day, but I keep moving. Ethan glanced at it, not with pity but with respect. Lauren believed listening was a science. She'd have liked you. Maya looked out the window. Rain streaking sideways. Emma accepts me. That's what mattered. Later that week, Ethan stood at his office window and saw her biking home. Thin jacket, gloves unraveling, front wheels shaking against the wind. The sight clung to him all night, quietly. He arranged help through a community center. 3 months of rent relief. A printed note tucked in the envelope. You gave my daughter safety no doctor could. That is everything. He didn't sign it. 3 days later, Maya arrived late, breathless. I'm sorry. Caleb had a rough morning. He wouldn't let go. I couldn't find anyone to watch him. She braced for disapproval, shoulders tense. Instead, Ethan placed a steaming mug of tea in her hands. You're here. That's what mattered. Her voice cracked. Most days I'm making it up as I go. No backup. No plan. Just holding my boy and praying I don't break. Tears slid unchecked. I stayed awake 9 months straight for a baby who never came home, Ethan said quietly. His eyes softened. I don't know it all, but I know enough. She clutched the cup tight, trembling. No one's ever said that to me. The silence that followed didn't hurt. It felt shared. The next afternoon, an email arrived at Ethan's desk. A roster from the music center. Instructor, Claire Donovan. No mention of Maya. His chest went cold. That evening, she arrived as usual. Scarf damp with drizzle, smile tentative. Ethan met her in the hall. We need to talk. In the sitting room, light slanted across polished floors. He held the paper loosely, eyes steady. You weren't assigned here. Why didn't you tell me? Maya's hands twisted together. I came to deliver food. Mrs. Reynolds thought I was the teacher. I tried to explain. Then I heard Emma cry. I stayed. I never wanted to deceive you. I needed the money. But I swear I didn't mean to lie. Her voice broke. Please don't punish Emma for this. I'll go now. Just don't take this from her. She turned toward the door. No. Emma's cry cracked the air. She ran forward, cheeks wet, fists balled. She didn't lie to me. Don't send her away. If you do, I'll be quiet forever. Maya dropped to her knees, gathering the child in her arms. I'll always be with you, she whispered, pressing a hand over Emma's heart. The girl pulled free, dashed to the piano, and slammed trembling fingers on the keys. The shaky melody of Safe Sky filled the room, ragged with tears, blazing with courage. Ethan stood frozen, listening as grief and hope collided in every note. His eyes stung, his throat tightened. For the first time in years, he let the tears come, and as the last sound lingered, he understood. Rules and plans had kept him safe, but love was what kept his daughter alive. Upstairs that night, the roster still sat on his desk, forgotten. Downstairs, the sound of Safe Sky echoed like a promise no one dared to break. What he didn't know yet was how one child's drawing, hanging in a classroom across town, would soon make every decision unavoidable and change the course of all 3 lives. The boardroom hummed with voices, charts sliding across the big screen. Words like quarterly margins and expansion goals filled the air, but Ethan Carter couldn't hear any of it. His eyes fixed on the company's old slogan at the bottom of each slide. Healing minds, honest hearts. Those words once drove him. Now they felt like a verdict. He closed his notebook, pushed back his chair. Excuse me, he muttered. The room stilled as he walked out without another word. He drove aimlessly through gray streets until he found himself at Roosevelt Elementary. Inside, a teacher guided him down a hallway lined with projects. She's been working on this all week, the teacher said softly. Below the staff lines, Emma had drawn 3 figures, a man, a woman with brown hair, and a little girl holding both their hands. Ethan's breath caught. The teacher added, she said it's about finding your way back when you're lost. He stared until the lines blurred, then whispered a thank you and walked out. He stopped next to the community health center his company helped fund. Through the glass, he saw weary parents waiting with children in tow. In the corner, a young girl in headphones rocked back and forth, drawing. Her mother sat beside her, patient, steady, no degree, no title, just present. Something inside Ethan shifted. Knowledge heals some, but love was its own medicine. He turned back to his car with a decision already made. That evening, he drove down a quiet street where houses leaned into the wind. He stopped at a weathered door with peeling paint. Inside, faint music stumbled from an old upright piano. He knocked gently. Maya opened the door. Surprised, her sweater was threadbare. Flour dusted her hand. Behind her, toys cluttered the floor. Caleb's laughter faint in the back room. Above the piano, a crayon drawing hung crooked. A small house. 3 figures beneath the words, "Family is where someone listens." Ethan stepped inside. His palms were damp, but his voice was steady. "I don't know how to play," he admitted, sitting at the piano. "But Emma taught me this." His fingers pressed clumsy notes, the opening of Safe Sky. The melody was uneven, fragile, but every note carried weight. Maya sat beside him, silent, tears glistening. She didn't correct him. She listened. When the last sound faded, Ethan turned toward her. "I walked away from numbers today," he said, "because they don't matter without this. Without us." Maya shook her head slightly, overwhelmed. "You didn't have to come here." "I know," Ethan said. His eyes held her, but I had to. Their silence was deep, not empty. Caleb burst in, tambourine in hand, grinning wide. "Play again," he shouted. Maya laughed through tears, and Ethan laughed with her, a sound he hadn't made in years. Weeks later, the community fundraiser Songs of Hope filled the auditorium. Parents chatted, programs rustled. On stage, Emma sat at the piano, posture small but determined. Beside her, Caleb clutched his tambourine, eyes darting nervously. Ethan and Maya stood just off stage. He squeezed her hand. "She's ready," he whispered. Maya nodded, whispering back, "So am I." Emma began the melody, halting at first, then strung. The room hushed. Caleb missed his cue, then suddenly found the beat, striking the tambourine right on time. The audience leaned forward, stunned. Emma smiled for the first time under stage light. The music wasn't perfect. It was better. It was alive. Every wrong note carried a piece of loss, and every right one carried hope. Together they made something whole. By the final chord, the auditorium rose to its feet. Applause thundered, filling the space with a sound that was less about performance and more about belonging. Backstage, Emma ran into her father's arms. "Did you hear?" she asked breathlessly. Ethan kissed her hair. "I heard everything. You gave the world our song." Caleb bounced beside them, tambourine still shaking. Maya knelt and pulled him close. For once, he didn't resist. He leaned in, smiling. Ethan turned to Maya, his voice rough with emotion. "I thought I needed the right teacher. Turns out, I just needed the right person." Her eyes brimmed, but she managed a small laugh. "And I was just delivering noodle." He shook his head, smiling through tears. "No, you were delivering home." That night, long after the hall emptied, they walked out together into the cool air. Snow fell in soft spirals, dusting their hair and coat. Emma and Caleb ran ahead, leaving tracks side by side. Maya slipped her hand into Ethan's. Neither spoke. The world was quiet, the kind of quiet that doesn't ask for words. Sometimes, the wrong melody is exactly the one that makes everything right. Thank you so much for spending your time with this story today. If it touched your heart, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes in love and second chances. Your support means the world and helps us keep bringing stories that truly matter. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So please leave a comment below and join the discussion. See you in the next story, and I wish you all the best until then.